Hello everyone, and today's topic is astral projection. I'm going to talk about what it is, why we need to learn about this, and how to do it. Last week we spoke about the three minds, and through the three minds, certainly through two of them, the sensual and the intermediate mind, we know the physical world well. The sensual mind gives us information about the physical world through our senses, and the intermediate mind gives us information about the physical world, so-called information, through our beliefs. However, you've been trying to do the exercises of learning to remember ourselves, and these exercises aim at activating the conscious part within us and activating the inner mind, opening the inner mind slowly but surely. Already you may have seen that you are more than the physical body, that in actual fact our psychology is within the physical body. We inhabit the physical body. It is not us. Astral projection is known in some cultures already. For example, some of the South American tribes or the Aborigines or Eskimos, for example, would know about astral projection and would use it in their everyday culture or folklore. In Egypt and Tibet in the ancient times, it was well documented what happens in the astral dimension. And it was well known that these places can be visited while still physically alive through the passing of the astral body out from the physical body. As we've been remembering ourselves, from the point here where the horizontal line and the vertical line cross, this is the present moment. And if you've been doing the activities in self-remembrance, then you will have noticed that your perception of life has slowly started to expand. This is because we've started to activate that thing which we call consciousness inside of us. And slowly, bit by bit, as we increase the activities and we increase the length of time in which we're doing those activities and also the frequency with which we do them, i.e. we're remembering ourselves more and more, then our perception starts to increase in a manner like this. And as we carry on and we get more serious about the work and we put in more effort and we put it into more tasks in our everyday life, we'll come to a point where we can experience something of the astral. At a certain point in our development, these experiences or information start to come our way. And in actual fact, this is a milestone in the work, because when somebody reaches to this point, it means that they can actually use the astral dimension for their own learning, for their own development of themselves, for their own progress of their inner work. I have to stress, however, it is a gradual work. It didn't take me very long to draw that little diagram there. But that kind of work, reaching to that point of self-remembrance, where the essence can experience the astral directly for itself, is very gradual. You can compare it to a tree. A tree grows slowly. Nothing takes jumps in this work. It's all very gradual. This work is not for the fickle or the faint-hearted. We need to be patient and tenacious in this work. So what is astral projection? When we go to sleep, our essence, and also our egos, leaves the physical body and goes to the astral dimension. We do this every night when we go to sleep, but however, we do it unconsciously. The physical body, left asleep in the bed, recharges, and there's an aspect of our physical body called the vital body that is responsible for doing this. So this is a natural phenomenon, the astral projection, but we simply don't know about it because our level of awareness during the day does not permit us to take that level of awareness into the astral dimension. We simply close our eyes, fall asleep, and the next thing we know, it's the morning time. However, with a little bit of work, inner work, on concentration, and also the daily tasks of the self-remembrance, the essence is able to perceive what happens during the moment when the physical body goes to sleep. So what is the astral dimension like, first of all? Here's a picture by Nicholas Flammarion. He was an astronomer who lived from 1842 to 1925, and he describes having many experiences in the astral dimension. And you can see here that, if I just get my pointer here, you can see this is the physical world here, the trees, the sun, the stars, the landscape, the buildings and everything on it. And here he's managed to penetrate through the physical dimension into another dimension. He is clearly depicting here how it is possible to penetrate from one dimension to the other. The astral dimension is an exact counterpart of the physical world. However, different laws apply. So, for example, in this dimension, in the physical world, we have gravity. If this particular chap here was to take a jump in this physical world, he would simply come back down to Earth. However, if he was to take a jump in this dimension, the astral dimension, then he would take a jump and he wouldn't come back down. He would float and fly, and he could move at the speed of thought to where he wanted to go. Here in the physical world, we can't move at the speed of thought at all. We have to get a bus or a train or a car to get from A to B. Or we can walk as well, of course. If you've ever had a dream of flying, then most likely you will be bringing back the memory of an experience that you had in the astral dimension. In the astral dimension, the colours are very bright, and it's like a bright summer's day, full sunlight. That's in the superior astral dimension. If we were to go to the lower astral dimension, it will be more dark, shadowy, and maybe more like dusk, or as the night would fall. In the astral, languages are not necessary, because whatever language you speak, it will be immediately comprehensible by the person in that same dimension. Here in the physical, we have to have translators and Google Translate, and we have to learn languages to communicate with each other. Another aspect of the astral dimension is that it's possible to pass through a solid object. Here, for example, the person could not pass through a solid object like a building. But if this building was in the astral, which has its counterpart, of course, then the building, he'll simply be able to penetrate through the walls and fly up and proceed upwards through the sky like that. I'm going to read you a little description of the astral projection. And here's a picture as well to go along with it. What we are explaining must be experienced and understood in action and not in thought or with the mind. The devotee must rise from his bed naturally. Nature will act by separating the astral body from the physical body. When we are out of the physical body, we feel a very light, delightful, spiritual voluptuousness. There is nothing more pleasurable than to feel the soul detached from the physical body. In the superior worlds, we can communicate with the ineffable beings. In the superior worlds, we can study at the feet of the Master. This is how we become free of many theories. This is how we drink from the fountain of living knowledge. That passage there was taken from the author Samuel Anvior, who writes extensively about the astral dimension and why we need to get there. And you can see immediately with the phrase, we can study at the feet of the Master, why we need to get to this astral dimension. Because the astral dimension holds keys and clues of many aspects of our psychology and many aspects of the work as well. How to do it, where the pitfalls are, what to learn, what the other dimensions are, and many, many more things. All of this can be learned in the astral dimension, and in fact must be learned. When you get to the point of being able to astral project yourselves, then you have a place to go to receive the teachings directly. The astral dimension is where our dreams take place, reflecting the dreams we have in the day. And even though highly unusual things may be happening, it never occurs to us to ask where we are or what we are looking at when we are dreaming. It's a very curious thing that we accept everything in the astral dimension as if it was real. This is because the level of awareness that we currently have doesn't allow us to perceive that we're actually in a different dimension. As Plato said, a man is known by his dreams. The quality of our level of consciousness during the day is reflected by the quality of our dreams. A higher level of consciousness during the day means more coherent dreams, lucid dreams, dreams where we even wake up and we know that we're in that dimension. But if our lives are chaotic, psychologically speaking, during the day, then similarly our dreams will also be chaotic, disjointed. If we find that we have those kind of dreams, it's because it's an indicator, really, and it's because of the way we've been behaving during the day. Maybe we've been caught up in something on TV, or maybe we've had a strong emotion, or we carry out a particular habit very often, and so that's what happens in the dreams. So imagine now that you could go to the astral consciously. Well, as I've said, this is in fact essential in our inner work. We need to know what happens to us in this dimension. It cannot be that we can continue with those chaotic dreams without having any direction or any information for us. We need to use this dimension for our self-development, to increase our self-knowledge. And here I've put a few pointers as to why we need to learn about astral projection. Firstly, we need to verify for ourselves that we are not the body, but something that is within the body. You may already have been noticing this through the practices that we've been doing, but now with this practice, it will be concrete for you. You will have been able to prove this. It will be verified directly, not because of something that somebody told you, but because of something that you experienced, as we said before in that quote. It gives strength and momentum to our everyday work. When we've had an astral experience the night before, it gives us a great boost. We feel huge enthusiasm and huge willingness to try and work harder upon ourselves. To remember ourselves while doing all the tasks of the everyday life becomes something that we urgently want to do because we want to repeat that experience of being in the astral. In the astral dimension, we receive teachings in a direct manner. They are intuitively given, understandable to the essence directly. We learn things through pictures, words, symbolism. A word or a glance can be used to teach us what we need to know. This is a massive chance for us to see and learn directly about our psychology, and we need this information to help us wake up. What are we waking up? We're waking up our essence, of course. We become investigators. We take the initiative in our own internal development. The teachings that we give in our classes are really aimed at bringing you to this point, because our own internal development is really a matter for ourselves. It's a matter of our own initiative. When we get to that point ourselves, and we're able to receive this information, then we know what we have to do in a personal manner. It gives us an opportunity to gain real knowledge that is not given here in the physical world. The real teachings are given in the astral dimension, but we have to wake up in this dimension to get it. In the astral dimension, there are places where the real knowledge is given, temples of wisdom. However, I need to tell you that if you do have an astral experience and you receive some teaching, keep this to yourself, because this information is not for us to spread about and to increase our level of pride or vanity. This information is for us. It's often said this information comes from lips to ears. It's for ourselves and ourselves alone. Sometimes you might receive information which is related to the wider world and the future and so on. In that case, you can share that if it's useful for everybody. But if it pertains particularly to you, then that information is for you and you keep it. Don't even share it with a spouse. Help and direction is available in the astral dimension. Information is given to us there, to our essence, by our own innermost being. And we'll talk more about the innermost being in future lectures. But the innermost being is there as a guide for us. And any time you feel that you need to ask for assistance or ask a question, you address it to your own innermost being. As a good rule of thumb, whenever you wake up in the astral or you get to the astral, ask your own innermost being to take you to where you need to go, to show you what you need to learn. It's our innermost being who knows exactly what we need to hear and what information we need to progress in our inner work. So how can we do this practice? I've already said that the practice of astral projection is intimately related to our ability to remember ourselves during the day. And this is key. Attention and conscious work of self-remembering during the day is essential to succeed in this practice. If we carry on in the day in a normal mechanical manner, not remembering ourselves at all, it is unlikely that we will remember ourselves in the astral dimension. Very unlikely. However, with a strong remembrance of our essence during the day, efforts made to do the practices, for example, then at the end of the day, we can go out consciously into the astral dimension. What stops us? It's precisely what we call fascination towards things of everyday life. These things are completely reflected in our dreams. And if you've had a dream when you've woken up and you've realised it was chaotic and caught up in all manner of everyday things, this is a clue to us of what it is that we are fascinated with. And it can mean that we can work in our everyday lives to correct this, having received this information. Let's see how it works. So we've already said that during the day, if we are mostly fascinated by everyday life, watching TV, going on the internet, going on social media, doing our jobs, being on the computer, and so on, then the capacity for being conscious in the nighttime is really limited. In fact, the capacity in the nighttime is really just simply to repeat all of these dreams and fantasies that we've had during the day. However, if we've started to remember ourselves a little bit during the day, so we've started to remember ourselves when we've had breakfast, or when we're making a cup of tea, and when we've gone for a walk, or when we've done some housework, for example, or when we're listening to music, then the more tasks we do during the day with a little bit of attention, then we have the possibility of waking up in the nighttime having a little bit more lucidity in the dreams, possibly even being aware that we are actually in the astral dimension. And there is a practice that we can do called the jump, which exploits this very mechanism. Let's show you how it works. Say, for example, here I am in the day. I'm in the physical world. And I can use this information of the repetition of, or the reflection of the daytime psychological condition, and I can use it in the following way. If in the daytime I take a little jump, and I ask myself, curious to know, am I in the astral or am I in the physical? Then if I'm in the physical, I will simply come back down to earth. But if I take the jump and I'm actually in the astral, and I reflect that action of questioning myself, am I in the physical or am I in the astral? I'll find myself doing that same action in the nighttime, and this time, when I take a jump, instead of coming back down to earth, I will fly and float and go somewhere else. This is a very interesting practice and one of the first ways where we can verify the astral dimension. The most common first experiences in the astral are to wake up in the dreams, and many people have done it with precisely this practice called the jump. I've written it down here on the next slide. To recap, take a jump in self-remembrance with an attitude of being alert to novelty. Then ask yourself, am I in the physical or am I in the astral? If we repeat this several times during the day, or as many times as we can, we're taking the jump as often as we can here, little jump, and we're using the questioning, am I in the physical or am I in the astral? Then, in the night time, because these activities carry over, we will similarly be asking ourselves, am I in the physical or am I in the astral? But as we said, in the physical, we come back down to earth. But in the astral, we take off and we fly. We can also go to the astral directly from the point of when we lie down to go to sleep. Concentration is key for this practice. First of all, get into a comfortable position and relax the body. Just observe your thoughts and calm the mind. You can do this by concentrating on the heart. Allow sleep to come, and when the body is very relaxed, in the moment between being awake and sleepy, and you feel a separation taking place, an internal change, a kind of electric jolt, just step up smoothly and gently. Look back at your body, lying in the bed, and take a small jump to float. Here, of course, you will confirm that you are in the astral dimension. Sometimes you may hear the egos just as you go to sleep, sort of noises and strange sounds from the mind. Pay no attention to these. Your main aim is to concentrate and remember yourself as you go to sleep during the night. When you wake up in the morning, there is something else that you can do as well. Review the dream. Ask ourselves, where did I go? What did I see? Who did I talk to? By doing this, we're showing to our own essence that we are interested now in what is happening when we go to bed, when we go to sleep. We're interested in knowing where does the essence go during the nighttime. We can review also any obstacles that we faced when trying to astral project the night before. What happened when we were trying it? Did we get fed up? Did we get bored? Did we lose patience? Did our minds, for example, distract us too much? Were we thinking too much? Were we uncomfortable? All kinds of things could take place. Whatever takes place, we can aim to correct it the following night. There is a mantra as well called the Raum Gaum, which can help us to bring back the memory of the dream. And it works like this. When you wake up in the morning, try not to move. Try to keep as still as possible, because the astral body has come back to the physical body and it still has the memory of the dream within it. Using the mantra Raum Gaum, it will bring back the memory of the dream into the conscious mind. Simply repeat it silently in your head again and again, concentrating on the mantra. And you focus on the Om bit particularly. Raum Gaum. And as you repeatedly say this mantra, at a certain point, the memory of the dream will come flooding back to your mind. If you've moved too much, however, it may not work. So keep as still as possible. Some people complain of having a poor memory and not being able to remember anything of their dreams. In these instances, you can actually eat ground almonds, citrus fruit and honey together for breakfast, and this will help improve memory. It works on the atoms in the brain, and it can help us to develop a better memory for these kind of things. So for homework this week, try the jump several times a day, in discretion of course, and alert to novelty when you ask yourself the question, am I in the physical or am I in the astral? When you go to sleep at night, be conscious as you go to sleep. Try and focus on the heart and see what happens. Keep away from the thoughts and the minds as much as you can. Then remember, when you wake up, keep still and try to remember the dreams using the mantra Raum Gaum. Very importantly, keep doing the daytime activities, the self-remembrance activities, such as brushing the teeth, getting dressed, walking, drinking tea, eating, all of those things. Do them with as much conscious attention as you can. Go over again the lecture on self-remembrance. There's several descriptions of it in there, and also in the Ego Essence and Personality video. Go through the description of self-remembrance if you've forgotten how to do it. But basically, what we are doing is whatever action it is we're doing, we need to be conscious that that is what we are doing, using the sense. The action combined with the sense at the same time. For example, if I'm holding an orange, I know I'm holding the orange. I feel it in my hand. Also, don't forget the sit-down practices, and I'll talk to you more about this next week. The sit-down practices are important to give us strength and to help us during the daytime practices. So keep up with the listening to the music and also relaxing the physical body. I'll introduce some more things next week. Now you will have also received a concentration video, The Power of Concentration. Watch this video as well, and we'll talk about it in more detail. That's it then for now. Any questions, as usual, email us at info@htsk.ie, and we'll be happy to answer any questions on this very interesting topic.